Well into the halfway mark of IPL 2018, some teams smiling. That happens by the time you come to this stage. Some teams sighing, some teams looking at what the others are doing. And we've got one team that can only look up today. And we've got one team that's, well, not quite sure because they are a middling kind of team at this stage. But that's what they do every year. That's Rajasthan Royals playing against the Delhi Daredevils. Zaheer Khan is here alongside me. So is Joy Bhattacharjya with his fund of stories and questions for all of us. He's promised not to ask us the quiz questions because Zach and me, we can't answer those anyway. But we'll give you the match details very shortly. What we do know is that Rajasthan Royals have won the toss. Delhi Daredevils are batting. There have been a couple of changes. We don't know about the pitch because we stopped watching the pitch reports.
And particularly Delhi, I think. Delhi is always full of surprises. I feel that, losing a toss might just work for Delhi. Because
like it did yesterday.
I think so. I think, and particularly in Delhi, you've seen that, when you're unsure of the wicket, it's better to bat first. Put the runs on board. As Shreyas was saying, dew might not be a factor there. If dew is not a factor, then it's certainly worth batting first on that track.
So if you're born and bred in Delhi, you're used to uncertainty anyway.
Yeah, uncertainty anyway. Anyway, some government will come and lock up something.
As hardcore Bengali people living in Gurgaon know very well.
I need a visa to cross the border, but that's a different matter. But no, the other thing is that if you're a team which is 2-6, okay, literally every game is a sort of knockout game.
Correct.
You have to go and say, wouldn't you rather say, I'm going to bat, put 200 on the table and not bother about anything else after that, try and restrict. I think it's a young team. Delhi is a young team comparatively. They're actually better off batting first under these circumstances because what they really don't want to do is calculate or put it on their bowlers. And secondly, as I said, when you're batting first, whether you like it or not, the game is in the batsman's hand. They can take the game or they can, break the game. And therefore, you're doing the running and making somebody else chase you. And I think that's good for an inexperienced team, especially a team who's on the brink. Not much to lose.
I mean, they've made just one change. It's not much of a change. One spinner goes out, another spinner comes in. So,
well, looking at the season so far, I think Delhi is now looking like a stable side. They've experimented too much in the first half of the tournament. I think they're the side with maximum number of changes so far, I think, in the tournament, which also shows that you're not sure about exactly what your plans are. But in the last couple of games, somehow Delhi team is looking stable. They are putting up performances consistently. They've batted well in both the games, and they've created scenarios where they could have actually won both the games. So they will certainly take inspiration from that and build up on that. Build up on this, giving confidence to this young energy. Bring that sort of enthusiasm on the field, and just bring out that fearless factor. I think that's what Ricky Ponting has tried to achieve by bringing on Shreyas Iyer and just kind of providing that kind of spark, saying that, okay boys, no pressure, just go out there, express yourself and play fearless cricket.
Yeah, I guess that's what T20 is all about. I mean, when a team is down, when every match looks like a cabinet reshuffle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Suddenly someone else is opening, someone else at 3, someone else is bowling.
And then
DD was like that, RCB was like that.
Did he play for this year or last year? You get really confused. But the most important thing is what Shreyas had checked today before the toss. And that was, when is Radhika's birthday? See, Radhika is Ajinkya's wife, okay? And the last time that some captain had a wife's birthday, they celebrated very well yesterday. So first thing he checked Shreyas is Radhika's birthday. No, it's not her birthday today. So that's the first check.
I was doing the presentation yesterday, and while I'm talking to Kohli, in my mind there's 100 thoughts running. Should I ask him? Should I not? Should I ask him? Should I not? Should I ask him? So I did all the cricket questions and I said, was there a birthday today? And suddenly the look changed. Suddenly it wasn't this tough, hard-talking Indian captain. Suddenly there was this utterly in love, romantic young man. So I wonder if Ajinkya Rahane has been married too long though.
I have to then
almost
tell you this,
2 years.
The sad story, which is the exact opposite of your story.
Oh dear.
The first time in my life I got the chance to interview Sir Richard Hadley. And I'm interviewing him and I've got all these great questions. This is the years,
No, this doesn't look like it's heading to a good finish.
So Google has just started at that time, it's not really this thing. So I've done my research and everything. So I've asked all the proper questions. And my last questions I've saved up for him. I said, international cricket, it's so difficult for you to juggle careers. Now, both of you, your wife Karen and you, have international careers. How have you managed to keep your marriage going, with both of you touring? And he said, I haven't. We got divorced last week. And I promise you, I turned around and I said, thank goodness this is my last question. And he started laughing.
But you know, it's not just Virat Kohli who's this tough, gnarly cricketer who goes a little soft when you talk about marriage. The gentleman between us is also a bit like that. Huh? So, yeah, gentleman between us is also thoda like that.
That's what marriage does to you.
And we are in the West Indies together, we're all sitting and chatting, and suddenly there's no sign of Zach. They've just hand in hand, they've drifted away into the sunset and they've gone away. So anyway, we're talking about cricket. So let's come back. We've got the sides for you today, and Zach was absolutely spot on when he said that Delhi Daredevils are now acquiring a touch of stability about them because they've only made that one change. Tewatia goes out. He was a bit of a batsman down there as well, but they've backed their top six. Plunkett can bat a bit, Nadeem can bat a bit. Mishra Ji always swings his bat around a little bit. So just the one change, little finger spinner for the wrist spinner.
Well, Shahbaz Nadeem has been a very underrated bowler. I think every time he's got the opportunity, he's made use of that. But somehow he's not been able to cement his place. I think he should be a consistent feature. I think in the playing 11. But nonetheless, I think there is enough time in the tournament, and I think Delhi will give him a good run now. Because Tewatia has got enough opportunities, and at that number you can't bank on a bowler's batting. You have to have your 6 top batters to do the job for you, and one person who Delhi will be looking at joining the party is Glenn Maxwell. I think he's not been consistent so far with his bat.
There's a school of thought that says Glenn Maxwell plays well whenever the IPL is in Dubai.
Which is the numbers back
runs there.
The numbers back it.
Yeah.
Seriously,
But at some point, here's someone who can turn matches around just like that. At some point, you've got to believe when you pick a Glenn Maxwell that he'll win you 2-3 games.
Exactly.
You're still waiting for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not happening. It's not happening consistently. Shot selection, it may be just that's the way he plays, but the fact of the matter is that they have one of the most expensive flops, sitting there in that dressing room. And they haven't managed to do it. And of course, Rajasthan Royals is not really going to talk about it either, because Ben Stokes hasn't set the IPL on fire either.
When you have 2 of your main players being ruled out of the tournament, that's something which has worked for Glenn Maxwell, I think, so far in the tournament. If Chris Morris was fit, if Rabada was there around for the full tournament, after about 4-5 games, you might have seen that big change, the tough call, and that call would have been, Glenn Maxwell sitting out. But he should consider himself lucky right now and make use of the opportunity. And the reason Delhi is still sticking with him is because they know that, if he gives us 2 wins, that can happen. That can happen in the last 6 games as well. But I think he needs to take more responsibility on his shoulder, get into the right frame of mind. And mind you, Delhi is not an easy wicket for him. That's not the kind of wicket which he likes. He likes the ball to come onto him, and teams have been using spin option against him, and the fast bowlers have been going for those slower ones consistently against him. So that's something which he has to figure his game out about.
It's something all the overseas players in this IPL have struggled with, whether it's the Butlers or the Stokeses or everybody when the pace goes off. But since you talked about money sitting on the bench, I think there's a reason. Rajasthan Royals owner is a very successful businessman from the UK. Interest rates in the UK are what, 1.5%, 2%? So he's used to not getting returns on his large returns on his investment, because if you look at all those investments,
the best argument ever.
If you look at those investments sitting on the bench, look at the expensive players who are not doing that well, you'll find that a couple of Rajasthan Royals players are right up there. These are only the overseas players. That's Ben Stokes up there. You'll find that also Jaydev Unadkat is up there. There's a lot of money spent on Unadkat. But one player is not in that list, right at the bottom, who's actually now coming good, and that is Jofra Archer. But what do you think is happening with Ben Stokes? I mean, last year, I've got some more numbers. You talked about struggling against spin. Last year, he was average 26, strike rate 133. This year, he's virtually not getting any runs against spin. He's 14.25, strike rate 111.
But you look at where his season started. His season started literally in March. After that incident, he hasn't played for a long time. After that, all of New Zealand, he's been troubled by a back injury. So his bowling is not 100%, and he's admitted it, that going into the IPL, my bowling is not 100%. IPL is not a great place for recovery, because you're traveling a lot and playing in really difficult conditions, a lot of matches. So I don't think his bowling is 100%, and when you're injured, somebody like him is a very much of a field player, very physical player presence. And I think that's diminished a bit. But he's too expensive and he's too valuable for them to leave him on the bench and say, recover, take your time. They don't have that luxury.
Yeah, so let's look at the other side then. We've been talking about Delhi Daredevils for a time now. Who are Rajasthan Royals playing? They're not making too many changes either, except that now Darcy Short. Here's a player that a lot of us thought would be one of the dark horses, one of the wild cards of the IPL, because he came from the Big Bash, Zach, scoring a lot of runs. And when the ball stopped and turned, suddenly everyone says, right, now what? The ball's stopping, it's not supposed to stop, right? So I don't know if they'll play this lineup, because you were suggesting that Josh Butler might open the batting, then maybe Short at 3, Samson at 4.
Looking at the change which they made, I think Darcy Short coming in the side, Darcy Short will open. I think, if Darcy Short was not in the side, then yes, they had the option of opening with Josh Butler. But I still feel that they have to use Josh Butler up the order, because he's someone who plays spin also well. So when till the time ball is hard, they can use the hardness of the ball, and he can play that role of accelerating at the right time. So especially if Ajinkya is looking to anchor the innings, you need people to rally around him. You need people with him to take chances. Because they need to set the tone of getting those 8 or 9 runs per over, and especially through that middle phase. And once the platform is set around 15th over, then wickets in hand always works.
But then you need the Stokeses and all these people. Even Jofra Archer finishes very powerfully.
They have an explosive middle order. I mean, if it gets going, that is, it just spluttered and this thing, and too much weight on Samson.
That's what I thought too. I also thought it's an explosive middle order. Remember when we were kids, we used to get our Diwali budget was 30 rupees. All the other kids had 100 bucks, but we had to make good with 30. So every little bomb had to work. When you had 100 rupees, I mean, some of you will be looking thinking, how much of a fossil are these people?
Exactly.
Then 1 or 2 bombs went this way, it didn't matter. But for us, every bomb had to work. Rajasthan Royals, they've got lots of bombs there, but some of them are, the wick is a little loose.
Yeah, the wick is a little loose. They have to tighten it very quickly.
Did you also do that? Just put that wick back in.
Yeah, put it back. Not only that, if you hang around during Diwali, there are lots of others you'll see around which have not gone off and people have gone off. You quickly pick them up and sort of replace them and use them next time.
Or just take out all the paper around it, put them into a new sheet paper of your own and just burn it off so that it comes. Yeah, well, we keep going away here and there. But Rajasthan Royals are in this sort of middling kind of position, right? That they're not quite among the top, they're not quite among the bottom, but they're very vulnerable at this stage, especially after yesterday's result, because even though RCB are 3-5 and RR are 3-4, all of a sudden they're thinking, oops, RCB on that momentum, they win a couple more, KKR win a couple more, where are we? So RR need a big result today.
They do. I think it's a very important game for them, especially because they've lost the last game, and the last game they should have won. So when you have a game like that, it's very important not to get onto that losing momentum. If you can get onto winning momentum, or you can go the other way around, I think, and that's something which RR has to be watchful of. And you look at the presentation at the toss, Ajinkya was a little tentative as well. So there are certainly nerves which shows that there is a bit of tension in the camp.
It's interesting you say that, because when RCB were going through that phase, they were losing every match. Virat Kohli was forgetting the changes as well.
Gautam Gambhir before that.
Yeah.
Both of them. Moment a captain has too much in his mind, you'll see him mumbling at the toss, wondering, oh, who have I got? Because there's too much there. His head is cluttered.
So if I forget something on my rundown, then that could be the reason as well, you think? Because the producer keeps telling me things as well. Talking of changes, there've been so many changes that teams have been making in this IPL season. Now, this is the point that Zach was making earlier on, that once Shreyas Iyer has come and Ponting is just telling them, listen, this is a side, and now let's stick with this. 18 changes in 9 games. Look at the bottom there. KKR 6 changes.
But maybe stability may not be the only reason for KKR's lack of
surprise. The surprise on that list is CSK, I think, because they've been forced. Otherwise, MS is someone who likes to have a very stable playing 11. You won't see many changes. A bit like KKR, I think. They've also adopted a similar kind of approach to IPL. But CSK this year, I think, had been struggling with injuries in the camp.
I think part of the reason is they started with Mark Wood. They had to let him go. They had to wait for Faf du Plessis to come in. Then they wanted to try du Plessis over Billings. So. But the core is
Chahar got injured.
Yeah, Giddy had to go back. And Giddy had to go back. So,
but you're right. Dhoni doesn't like changes at all. What do you make of Jofra Archer? Rarely has a person who's played such little cricket generated as much of a buzz as Jofra Archer did. I mean, here's a young Barbadian. He's playing cricket in Barbados, And Chris Jordan says, why don't you come across to England? So he finds, everybody has a loophole to play for England, Joy. You and me could find some loophole to play for England.
One.
If we were good enough, there could be a loophole. There'd be some law that allows everybody anywhere in the world to play cricket for England. So he's got to wait 4 years.
22, 23. See, the big issue is that West Indies is still not given up on him. So
I think he's given up on West Indies though.
He gave up because when he was injured, they sort of forgot about him. So now he's saying that, when I was injured, you forgot about me, you thought I was useless. Now if I play, I'll play for England. And they're still turning around and saying that we are waiting. Maybe he'll come back to us.
The funny thing is that West Indies, he might have given up on the West Indies. So West Indies are worried. England are worried whether in the next 3 years he might become such a good franchise player, such a rich franchise player that he may not want to play international cricket.
Which is possible.
But what he does also, Zach, is you've got Ben Stokes, batsman, part bowler. You've got Archer, bowler, part batsman. When you've got two explosive cricketers with those kind of skills, your team balance just is fantastic.
It changes the balance completely, I think. And Jofra Archer is an exciting young talent. I think he's bowling with the pace which is around 145, 142 consistently. He's bowling those Yorkers at that pace, and he's got slower ones as well. To back that. And when you have that level of difference in speed, when you're bowling that quick and then you have a slower one, it just changes the game completely. That's what has been happening with Bumrah as well. I mean, Bumrah's success was.
Why is he not bowling Yorkers? Why is Bumrah? Yesterday we had a little discussion. Why is Bumrah not bowling as many Yorkers?
Has to be something to do with some kind of a niggle. That's the only explanation which comes to my mind.
Could it be that he played so much Test cricket, bowling back of a length, hitting the ball back of a length? But you should be able to make that adjustment quickly.
Because when you're looking at Bumrah, you can see that he's not backing his Yorker, and the reason he's not backing his Yorker because he's not able to finish. And if he's not confident of finishing, then there has to be something to do with the back for sure. That's something as a bowler you've seen, because he's been bowling slower ones and he's been bowling then back of the length. So that's something which may be the case. I'm not sure, but yeah, can be a possibility.
DD are batting first today. And we are excited about Rishabh Pant. We saw Rishabh Pant in the West Indies and you just wondered whether he lost his way over there. Sri Lanka, he looked like that. Started slowly here again. But now we're starting to realize why there's a buzz around Rishabh Pant again.
Phenomenal talent.
I mean, we saw him in last year's IPL. There was that phenomenal game that he played. Sachin tweeted about it as well against Gujarat Lions. But he's coming back now, and we're seeing why he's such a prospect.
No, he's a prospect. Secondly, any person, they used to talk about Sehwag, and the thing about Sehwag was, why coaches loved him. No footwork, nothing, but somebody who could hit even a good ball for 4 or 6. And Rishabh is a bit like that. That's the kind of player. You see, there are only some players who have that rare ability to convert even anything. It's something that looks like a terrific delivery and they hit it for 6. Yeah. And he leaves you open mouthed at that point.
Strike rate 170. The average is up as well. So Delhi Daredevils would want him to do what Sehwag did in the early years. Zach, you'll understand this. We were sitting, in the lounge, and Viru was there. I don't know how talkative he is in a dressing room, but he's very quiet in a lounge. So we got talking about Delhi Daredevils, and I said, Viru, क्या हो रहा है Delhi Daredevils को? He said, कुछ नहीं. Sehwag नहीं खेल रहा उनके लिए.
That's a typical Viru answer. No, but Rishabh Pant, I think, is again exciting young prospect, and he's still figuring his game out. I think he needs to add a thing or two to his batting, especially with his offside game. That's where bowlers have been targeting him, and he's far better than what he was in the last season. And with the thing with youngsters is you got to give them time, and every batsman or a cricketer for that matter need to figure out what works for them. You need to know your strengths. You need to know your weaknesses. I think weaknesses is more important, because if you know what doesn't work for you, you can just focus your energies on what works for you and back your shots. I think that's what the game is going towards, because the amount of sixes have been hit shows that batters are believing in themselves in terms of soaking those dot balls and just making use of sixes. Yeah.
This year, there's an average of 7.27 sixes per innings. If you play on a normal Chinnaswamy Stadium wicket, that goes up, of course. But look at the balls per 6. There's two things that strike you straight away about that. When I saw this graphic just before going on air, my eyes went to 2009.
Yeah.
That was in South Africa, those numbers will be different.
Yeah, those numbers
But look at how many more sixes are being hit. Maybe that could be a reason why the Yorkers are lesser, because they're worried if they miss a Yorker a little bit, that'll go for six.
Yeah.
Balls per six is every 15 balls there's a six.
Yeah. And that percentage is going to only go northwards from now on, because people are getting better at it. They are, perfecting the art. Secondly, and I think this is an important point to make, a lot of classical cricketers are looking at somebody like a Rishabh Pant and saying, that's not the way you play cricket, that's not the way you play your shots of balance. I have a very simple theory. When you go and look at a 100 meters runner, okay, you do not ask a marathon runner to analyze his action, and I think now the time has come really for all analysts to turn around and say, Test cricket is a art and there's definitely a lot of technique involved. T20 also has a lot of technique, but it may be a different kind of technique. Let's not confuse these two.
Yeah.
He may not be a great test player. Doesn't matter.
It's an interesting parallel. Not everyone has to sing like Bhimsen Joshi.
Exactly.
Because by the time you do, match is over. but even the marathon is a very good parallel. Just yesterday, I think Josh Butler was saying that in England, everybody considers him a lesser player because he's a white ball player.
Yeah.
And England is where the thinking will change last.
Yeah,
but I think in India, the thinking is changing. Do you find young kids saying, I don't want to take my foot to the pitch of the ball, I'll just take it away and hit through the line?
But I think going forward, there will be a distinction in terms of Test cricket. There will be specialists when it comes to Test cricket. There will be specialists in ODIs as well.
Yeah.
So that's the future of cricket, I think. And within a one-day setup also, you see that players playing certain phases of the game, you've seen that with the extended power plays and all that. Now teams kind of have a select players who usually go into bat at that particular phase of the game just because of their ability, and you still need skill. I mean, you see Brandon McCullum playing that ram shot, or a Butler playing a reverse sweep. It's consistency is the key, and they've mastered that art, and it still requires a skill to execute that. So I think, and you still have to figure out the game situation, the game scenario, because not everyone can go out there and hit sixes at ease. So that you have to give credit to the guys who are playing and mastered a particular level of cricket.
I love the way how Zach keeps bringing the discussion back to proper cricket all the time. we enjoy fooling around. Zach says, excuse me, let's come back to proper cricket thought. But it's great fun to have all kinds. Now, Rajasthan Royals versus Delhi Daredevils. Rajasthan Royals are on a winning streak against Delhi Daredevils. I mean, I know the teams change every year, but they've won 7 in a row against Delhi Daredevils. But the thing with Delhi Daredevils, between 2013 and now, they've probably got 4 different teams.
The other thing is, if you look at it, Delhi Daredevils have got streaks against them from 3 other teams. 4 of those 5 names are against the Delhi Daredevils. It just shows that they've had a really bad last 3 or 4 seasons. Have a look at that. RCB versus DD, CSK versus DD, and RR versus DD.
But so tell me, if you're a team like DD, you're playing against DD, they've reached a stage where they have nothing to lose. Mumbai Indians have reached a stage where they have nothing to lose, and there's still some match winners in both sides. Are you almost worried there's no pressure now on them? They'll just come out and fire. There's no pressure on them.
Can happen, I think, but end of the day, it's up to a team to kind of channelize that energy in terms of winning matches. So that's what is the key. You can see teams just kind of switching off, and even if those kind of situations, even if you try to motivate yourself, that the season is ending. That you're fighting a losing cause. So even if you have and people start thinking about their individual performances, bowlers start thinking about just bowling those 4 overs, making sure that they are looking good, and that's not an easy phase. So Delhi is still not there at that phase as yet, because they still have a great chance. You can get onto a winning momentum. They have actually showed those kind of signs. It's just about building confidence, and I think someone like Ricky Ponting is very good with that, just kind of transferring that kind of energy to all these youngsters, which showed in the last couple of games.
If they can win at home, they got 5 out of 6 at home. In fact, RCB is having the other issue. RCB has only 1 home game left. All their games are now away. So
Mumbai
can they?
Has quite a few at
but
home.
the way Wicket has been playing of RCB,
Every day is a new day.
They'll be happy to travel. At least you'll get some kind of consistency in your planning. And the same situation with Delhi. I think Delhi is one of the cricket grounds where you hope that you ask for a certain kind of wicket or you request.
I like the way you said hope. I like the way you said you hope.
You must have asked a lot.
It depends on the weather condition. You'll always hear all these excuses, and the wicket is never consistent. And if the wicket is consistent, as a captain, as a team management, it makes your job easy in terms of stacking up your playing 11.
Yesterday, Mumbai Indians were crying out to play Mustafizur Rahman, but they looked at the track, they played somebody else. After the first ball, you suddenly realize, oops, this is something else.
That guy should have played. Yeah.
Anyway, DDRR, what are you thinking?
Look, my only thing about DD is that they've kept the same team, and I like it. That means they still haven't given up the ghost.
Just one change here and there, largely. But Delhi standard is no change.
It's not a change at all. Yeah. But yeah, I'm backing them today. I think Delhi is going to they'll play with freedom. They'll get a 180.
But you live in Gurugram, not in Delhi. That's Haryana.
No, yeah. I told you, I need a visa to cross the border, so it's almost that.
RR Delhi.
Delhi for sure, I think, and again, I've just kind of seen the RR's change, and RR's change is a reactive change of what happened in the last game, and not really looking at what is going to happen in this particular game, because Ish Shodhi had a good game, and Delhi is known to have the wicket which is on the slow side usually.
Unless their Australian mentor is back and he's seen a lot of Darcy shot and he thinks, no, I think he'll come good. So if Darcy shot comes in, the Kiwi spinner's got to go out.
No, he was there in the last game as well. So he backed the leg spinner. Yeah. So I think today's game they certainly needed a good spinner. So that's why Shreyas Gopal had come in the side. But two leg spinners also wouldn't have been a bad call. But they're certainly playing the result of the last game.
Yeah, Delhi also left out their second leg spinner. So that's the news then that Rajasthan Royals versus Delhi Daredevils. Rajasthan Royals won the toss. Delhi Daredevils will be batting first. I'm told there's a little drizzle in Delhi. What's with your city?
I don't know.
What
this
month are we in?
I know. That's what I'm wondering. May is not.
So there was no dew factor now. Suddenly,
no, the drizzle factor.
Dew factor is back.
It's actually peculiar. I mean, I don't know how powerful this drizzle is, but if there is rain after the toss, and in this case it's just a little drizzle, but if there's an actual sudden storm comes about, do you think they should do the toss again? Because you chose your decision was based on certain conditions.
See, most of the teams they are winning the toss and they're choosing to field. Anyways, if there is rain around, you choose to field anyways, thinking that Duckworth Lewis is going to come into picture. So I don't think now there is any need of
maybe Rajasthan Royals won the toss. Maybe they would have said that now we want and batted. Then they would have said anyway.
Do you think Delhi Daredevils are thinking we're playing Rajasthan Royals, rain, not again? I thought we got enough runs on the board. Rajasthan Royals got a good Duckworth Lewis target.
But
they got it.
They won actually. Rajasthan won that match defending. That was the first match in the IPL won defending. Though it was a low score, it was one defending.
Yeah, so just 60. I think they had to chase 71 or 71. I think,
yes.
And they just didn't get there. Ben Laughlin actually his IPL started well, and wasn't that the day when Dhaval Kulkarni just bowled 1 over for nothing and never bowled again?
Yeah.
So that was the first game. They do not want rain, Delhi Devils. None of us want rain actually. What we do want is a prize. What's the status of the red table? Are we giving out those miniature red tables, or is Gaurav Kapoor holding them in his house?
Kapoor has promised more red tables to. The first red table he had to give, the first person they found was not even in India. He's in Leicestershire or somewhere.
That's why he got picked.
I have no idea. But that red table, I think now Sunandan Lele is going to carry it across. Lots of things are happening. That one red table to get across, we have a huge problem. So I don't know where the second red table is, and he's hoarding red tables. I've heard that under his bed there are about 15 small miniature red tables.
I mean, I've heard of fetishes, but a red table fetish, Gaurav Kapoor. I mean, surely, come on, you're getting older, man. Find something else to be excited by. But if some of you want it, here's the joy factor today. We've got a very interesting quiz question for you today from Joy.
Okay, slightly different one. Australian spinner Bob Holland and legendary Indian batsman Sunil Gavaskar played each other just one test against each other. That's in Sydney in '86. What unique fact connects them in the world of cricket? This has. I'll give you a hint. It doesn't have that much.
No, let them
go. They're so good.
You didn't give me a hint when I was trying to get it.
Question yesterday. That's why he was looking to give hints.
Yesterday was an easy question, right? No, the reason I thought it was easy was we had actually talked about it in commentary. Someone had brought it up, so it was a quiz question that had been asked earlier. Sometimes on that circuit you get some, but this is a tricky one.
But yesterday, I tell you what, it took the longest time to answer. Normally I get the answers within 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. I have about 20 of them. Yesterday about 10, 12 minutes. I said 12 minutes I've got out of these people out of Twitter.
Okay, so here's the thing then. What is that fact that connects where Sunil Gavaskar went back to Australia in 1986, after a phase where he didn't want to open the batting again. He scored a lot of runs, he got hundreds, he got sledged by Merv Hughes, and Merv Hughes never sledged him ever again. And Srikanth took on Bob Holland, never let him land. I think he got one for five,
He
one
went
for
for one over for 20 and he never played another test match in his life.
Yeah, there you are. So there you are. Well, hopefully play will start soon because the rain is getting heavier in Delhi. So do you want us to keep it going? What do you think? Send in your replies. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Do you want us to keep going now? We've said what we had to say. So, Joy is at the toll naka. He's just gone into Gurugram, but there's no toll naka now.
No toll naka.
So what do people in Gurugram get angry about now?
So now we get angry about the fact that once you cross the border, there are all these people, excise people in the middle of the road, stopping cars like that, especially, taxis, and trying to take money out of them. It's scary. And it's all over the place.
What if someone's driving one badi gaddi like a Fortuner and just drives over him?
No, Delhi, if you don't drive out 3-4 people, you don't get a license in Delhi.
What happened to the buses? You know, there was a time when those red, green, blue line buses used to go into people's backyards and run over them.
Yeah. Delhi buses
Blue line.
now. So Delhi government is a very smart government. So they said that we are going to solve this matter of blue line buses by painting them green. No more blue line. So you Google blue line, no more blue line.
So blue line was not killing anybody. But in spite of that, Joy is still backing Delhi Daredevils. Zach, of course, will have very intensely cerebral reasons for backing Delhi Daredevils, which is very good. And when two people have backed, it doesn't matter who the third person believes, because 2-0 or 2-1, it doesn't matter. There's no away goals, home goals, nothing here anyway. But I just have a feeling when you've got people like Stokes, Butler, Archer, you've got so much ability in there. Indian players are backing up. Krishnappa Gautam's had a good game. Rahane is too much class. I just think RR might have a little more than DD would like. So we're 2-1. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the rain will stop. Hopefully it won't become a DLS system game. And hopefully we'll have lots more to talk about once the game is over.